Hey guys, welcome to Craving for Baking, or the first video of my Baking for Your Valentine's Day series, where I show you guys how to make cute baking videos or DIYs so that you can have a really cool Valentine's Day. So we are going to start by making these really cute fruit tartlets. So the ingredients are in the description box and we can get started. So I'm going to start by adding in my flour, salt and sugar into a bowl, as well as my chilled unsalted butter, or of course you could use salted, but just make sure to take out the salt I already added. Now we're going to mix our butter and sugar and flour and salt together until there is only pea-sized chunks inside of the mixture that you can see. You don't really want large chunks, you just want really pea-sized chunks. They don't have to be big at all. You really want the butter to be distributed well so that you get an evenly nice and flaky pastry, and that it's not so buttery in one section and really less buttery in another section. So you can use either a potato masher to mash these together, or you could use a fork or a knife. Just really depends on what you want to use. So initially I used a potato masher, but then I switched to a knife, and then I switched to a fork in the end, since I found that the fork was much easier to use rather than a potato masher or a knife. So just really use what you prefer, but just make sure that you achieve pea-sized chunks of butter. So once that's all nice and incorporated and you've got your pea-sized chunks of butter, you want to add a little bit at a time some of your water. And you might not need all of your water. As I normally say in my videos, it depends on how humid it is where you are baking, or how cold it is, or basically the weather and the kind of temperature your ingredients are at. So you're just going to want to test it, add a little bit of water at a time, just to make sure that your dough comes together and it forms a tacky but an easy to form ball of dough, and it's not that kind of crumbly. You want to make sure it comes together really well and is bound well. So you just want to add in your water and mix it, and make sure that your water is ice cold, since this is vital. Make sure that you kind of add a little bit of ice cubes just to make sure that your water is actually ice cold. You need to make sure that your water is ice cold, because if it's not, then it's going to change the temperature of the butter, which we need cold as well to make this pastry really flaky. So once you've formed a nice dough with a little bit of chunks of butter still visible there, you want to place that into your cling film, and I'm just going to form that into a little ball and then wrap it with cling film. And then we're going to place it into the freezer so that things are sped up a little bit for about 5 to 10 minutes. Once it's out of the freezer, I'm going to dust my work surface with flour. Make sure it's floured really well, since this dough is slightly tacky. And then I'm going to place my dough ball out there. I'm going to use my hands to warm it up a little bit, just so that it's not so stiff and hard to work with, but just a little bit. You want to make sure that you don't change the temperature of the butter all too much, since the butter is really what makes this really flaky. So you're going to roll that and then turn it 90 degrees as you roll, just to make sure that it doesn't stick once again. And we're going to flour as we go along if the dough is consuming too much flour. And then we just want to roll that to about 1/4 of an inch thick. And once it's nicely rolled and nice and thin, then you want to get your cookie cutter and make sure it's around the same size as your mini tartlet tray, or a crevice in your little tartlet tray. And then you want to cut out some rings to place into your tartlet tray. I used a cookie cutter with like little kind of squiggles in it, so that it makes a really cute and kind of pretty kind of design when it's got the tart made. So when it's all done, it kind of has that really cute kind of design on it. But of course you don't have to. You can just use a normal ring cookie cutter and it won't really make a difference at all. So as you can see, this is what my dough looks like, and I'm just going to place that into the tray, and I'm going to use my thumbs to press it against the tray. And you don't have to worry at all about it sticking to the pan. You don't have to grease it or anything. Make sure you don't grease it, in fact, because that will alter the kind of consistency of your pastry. So make sure you don't grease or flour your pie crust at all, or your short crust pastry. You just want to use your thumbs to press that onto the tray so that it doesn't slide away. And then once you've done it to all of them, these should make about 11 to 13. It really depends on how big they are. Mine made 12 with 1 to spare, but I didn't make that. I actually put it in the refrigerator to use another day when I just feel like making one little tartlet for myself. So now I'm going to scrunch up a little tiny piece of parchment paper, and I am going to place some rice inside of it, and I'm going to put it into my little tartlet. So this is basically what weighs down the tart and make sure that it doesn't puff up while it's baking, so the pastry doesn't rise, and it's just going to be a nice weight. Of course, you can use about 2 to 3 ceramic beans in there so that it doesn't kind of puff up while it's baking. But of course, if you don't have ceramic beans, then rice is a really great alternative to use. So you just want to do that to all of your kind of little tartlets, and then we make sure that there is no rice inside of the actual pastry, because that wouldn't be really good. So here are them all done, and we are just going to put that into the oven, preheated to 180 degrees Celsius. As you can kind of see, I didn't preheat my oven, but make sure you preheat it if you want the cooking process to speed up a little bit. And you want to cook that for 5 to 10 minutes until it's slightly light golden. And this is called blind baking. We don't really want to bake it fully at first. So once you've baked it, then you want to take it out, and it will look uncooked when you take out the rice, but you want to take out all the rice, and then you want to put that back into the oven for another 5 to 10 minutes, and then leave it to cool. And while it's cooling, we can make our filling. So I'm using whipped cream, but of course you could use custard or lemon curd or jam or any filling you want, and the whipping cream is really easy to whip by hand, and all you need to do is tilt the bowl to the side and then whip it really fast, and it makes the perfect whipped cream. It whips within minutes. So now I put the whipping cream into a piping bag, and then I cut off a large tip, and then I'm piping little swirls into the mini tarts. Of course you can spoon it in, but I just thought, since we're doing this for a Valentine's Day video, why don't we kind of put the effort into it and make it look really pretty and cutesy. So since not everyone in my family likes cream, I decided to leave some creamless and used no filling at all. So if you are one who doesn't like cream or dairy, then you can of course leave out the cream. It tastes delicious either way, and fill it with something else. So here I decided to decorate it with fruits, any fruits that you have, and in the ingredients list I wrote any fruit. You don't have to use the same fruit I'm using, but I think the strawberries were really cute because I cut out little heart shapes, and I did that by using a knife and gently making an outline and then peeling away all of the sliced parts. And there you have it. These are the really cute tarts with hearts in them, and I think that they are really adorable, and they kind of remind me of little roses because of the way the bananas were arranged. So here is one without any cream inside. Now I'm putting these all into a nice platter, and don't you all agree that this is so gorgeous? They look absolutely beautiful, and I may or may have not eaten about 6, but who knows. So for more decoration, I dipped a strawberry in chocolate, and I piped the word love in the nice writing on that plate. And here is the pastry. It was so nice and flaky. I hope you guys try this. It was amazing. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you for my next Baking for Your Valentine series. Bye!